This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, Rusty back here with you with your latest Meteo Mundo video. Thanks so much for tuning in. In this video, we're taking a look at the tropics, the potential development here with a new tropical storm, and then some rain chances across the Caribbean. Again, thanks so much for subscribing and liking to the channel. If you know someone who you think would get some benefit out of what we're doing here at Meteo Mundo in regards to forecasting across the Bahamas and the Caribbean, let them know about the channel. We're trying to grow that community, and drop a comment in the section below. Let me know where you're watching from, and if you've got any specific questions about the forecast. Also been what you've been seeing weather-wise. I'd love to kind of hear that ground truth as well. Now, all is on track from yesterday. The area in the southwest Gulf of Mexico never developed tropically. It's merging right now with that frontal boundary in the northern Gulf. It's going to be a heavy rainmaker for portions of the Gulf Coast states. And we do have Tropical Storm Shawn in the eastern Atlantic. And on the heels of that one, another development potential with another wave coming off the West African coast. But let's look at Shawn. Look, Shawn is a weak tropical storm. I mentioned it yesterday that if we were going to get a tropical storm to develop, it was going to be weak and it was going to be short-lived. And relatively speaking, that's still what I see out of Shawn. Winds are just 40 miles an hour. You notice the Hurricane Center's track is a little bit more west-northwest rather than a quicker turn to the north. We do have our spaghetti plots running on that, and they're all kind of near that cone of uncertainty. But Shawn, again, is going to be moving through the open waters of the South Atlantic. And as we get towards the end of that 5-day track, the Hurricane Center actually has Shawn weakening back to a tropical depression. So relatively speaking, all is still right on with what we talked about yesterday with Shawn. Again, even out into time, we still have winds right now that are going to be just 40 miles an hour as Shawn moves on that west-northwest track. As a matter of fact, the strongest the Hurricane Center has Shawn becoming is just winds of 45 miles an hour. So that's the track that you see. Again, as we take it out into time and I zoom out a little bit, open waters, and by the end, it's back to a tropical storm. So Shawn might hold on to very weak tropical storm strength, but again, it's going to be well away from any landmass. These are the kind of storms that we like to see in the South Atlantic. Now we have another disturbance to talk about, just emerging off of the West African coast. That one already looks pretty significant. You notice that yellow area from the Hurricane Center is right on the heels where Shawn is developing. So this will be another disturbance that we will be watching as we get towards the end of the week and the weekend for potential tropical development here again in the far eastern Atlantic. Now let's take a look at the future track rain for both that disturbance and Shawn. I'll put that into motion for you here, and we'll take a look at a few things here. Actually, I need to switch this just real quick here. I want to take it out a little bit farther into time so you can almost get a good full week's worth of view here. First of all, you're going to notice that the GFS model still doesn't even do much with Shawn. I mean, really, it weakens it right there even quicker than the Hurricane Center. All of this moisture that you see and anything trying to wrap up is that disturbance just emerging off of the West African coast. And even that looks fairly disorganized even a full week ahead. So I'll back up the model. We'll kind of take it step by step. Again, there is Shawn. And even as we get into tomorrow, it really doesn't look impressive on the GFS model. Again, it's going to be encountering sheer and drier air as we go through time. And then again, that disturbance, potentially another tropical depression, maybe a weak tropical storm. But even as we get out into time right now, it's going to be a low latitude storm, meaning that, again, that track is more west rather than a recurve north. So we'll be monitoring the situation. But this is, again, still in the very open waters of the Atlantic, even a week ahead. I can actually show you the winds as well with this. We'll switch over to that product and take a look. And again, when you're looking at this product, you're going to see that we're going to hold on to at least a core of minimum tropical storm winds, at least near the center of circulation of Shawn. But I mentioned it the last couple of videos here, it's going to be encountering wind shear and just rougher environmental conditions as a trough in the Atlantic that, again, basically dissipates whatever Shawn is. So no concern for the Windward, the Leeward Islands, or the U.S. and British Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico. And then this model in regards to the next disturbance here, it doesn't really pick up on a big wind field. Again, the GFS model, look, it has a tough time sometimes really picking up on any areas that haven't really developed yet, but it certainly doesn't try and wrap up that disturbance in the South Atlantic for the week ahead. So again, something to monitor. Now let's get back to what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico for you right now. Yes, we do not have a tropical system, but this is still a high energy system that's rolling through the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to get some heavier rain across the northern Gulf Coast states and the peninsula of Florida and the opportunity for some strong to severe storms late Wednesday night into Thursday. Now, for the Bahamas, what are we going to see? Well, there's a blow up of convection storms over Cuba right now, and that's going to be driving in. Now, the strongest storms and the biggest energy with this blob is going to stay north even of the far northwest Bahamas, okay? Doesn't mean that we couldn't get into some isolated stronger storms for today, but the rake of the most severe storms will be up to our north. So let me show you our future track model here. Actually, let me zoom out just a little bit. First, this is the high resolution model here, the HRRR model. I'm going to put this into motion here. It's going to take 1 second just to load that back up, but this is going to show you again this very impressive rainfall, and I want to switch over to reflectivity as well. There we go. I got a lot of models I'm working with. I want to show you a lot of different variables, but look at that slug of storms coming across the southeast late Wednesday and into Thursday. That's going to be some gusty winds, especially on the leading edge of that. Now, again, for the Bahamas, for today, we're going to get some storms moving in from southwest to northeast, and then the opportunity for more storms to try and sink into the area as we get into Friday in the early part of the weekend. But I mentioned it yesterday, I do expect the majority of that activity to stay just north of the northwest Bahamas, and you can see some of those scattered showers and storms developing there. Now, you know I have a specific forecast for the entire Bahamas. That's a whole separate video, but because this is part of that tropical system, I did want to include that in this video. Okay, let's get to the rest of the Caribbean for you right now. We'll take a look at the rainfall over the next several days. How about we start with our friends in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and the Northern Windward Islands, and Northern Leeward Islands as well. So we're going to go back over to this model, going to swing this into motion here the next couple of days, and we'll loop that. Now, what you're going to notice on this GFS model is there's not a lot of rain in the forecast for places like St. Croix, St. Thomas, Anguilla, Barbuda, St. Kitts, and Nieves. Maybe a 20% chance for a shower here. I'm just going to let this model run over the next couple of days, and you can see Guadeloupe, Martinique, St. Vincent, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. Again, anywhere across the Windward, Leeward Islands, the Greater Les Antilles, there's just not a lot of shower activity in the forecast. And it's the same thing for our friends in Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. Again, an isolated shower is possible, but many dry hours and locations over the next couple of days. Now, in the portions of the Caribbean towards Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Jamaica, notice I haven't specifically talked about those areas. That's because we continue to expand our specific forecast for certain areas. So if you're looking for the forecast for Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas, we now have separate videos for those areas here, not only for the forecast for today, but we'll go over the next 5 days as well. So this is kind of a broad brush tropical view of what's happening, and you want some specific forecasts in your area, go back to the Meteo Mundo homepage and look for those. We appreciate you tuning in. Again, you want to help us out, subscribe to the channel. That does us tremendous good. Like the videos and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear where your viewing is from. Thanks for tuning in. We'll keep you up to date across the Caribbean and the Bahamas right here at Meteo Mundo.